Travis Wayne Goodsell. So, with the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Republicans across the nation are frothing at the mouth, drooling over getting somebody in who can destroy the life, liberty, and property of others. And that's exactly what they are doing, guys. Do you not understand that? The church hates women, hates gays, hates the poor, hates coloreds, hates them all, hates everybody, hates. How can I say such a thing, Travis? Are you kidding me? Don't you recognize that they're out there with the religious freedom movement? And why do they need a religious freedom movement? Don't they have the First Amendment right to religion? And that's the whole point, is that when you already are protected, there's only one known reason for wanting more protections, and that's so that you can take away protections from others. And so what led up to the church getting involved with the religious freedom movement? Well, you have to go back in time to when it started for the church, and it came from Obama allowing gay marriage. And it was very clear from the church that they disapproved. They got themselves involved in lawsuits as friends of the court, where they presented arguments against LGBT rights. And that's very disturbing. The concept of allowing life, liberty, and property to everyone should be at the forefront of all of our minds. Not a single one of us should ever desire to take the life, liberty, and property of another person. Now, obviously, if somebody has wronged you, that they have harmed you in a way that they have taken away your life, liberty, and property, that's understandable, that you would defend yourself using the courts first, assuming that the courts were not themselves bigoted, racist, sexist, biased in any form or fashion. Now, I know all about this biased court system because I myself am a victim, as I tried to follow my First Amendment right to petition the government for a redress of grievances against an organization that runs the whole state of Utah. It's horrifying to hear Mormons talk about people who want to come to America as animals, as rapists, as murderers, as gang members, as criminals, drug pushers, when you then see the camera footage at the border and a good number are women and children. The whole concept of a just justice system was that people are innocent until proven guilty. We have changed that to where you are guilty until proven innocent, where people can just accuse you and your whole life is destroyed instantly, especially if you are at a disadvantage such as poverty. And so, why then would the church seek to destroy other people's lives who just want to have a life? Why did the church interfere in the two bakery complaints where a California and a Colorado baker didn't want to give wedding cakes to a gay couple? I mean, they want to claim that it's their religious right to deny rights to others. Now, in religion, yes, the Constitution allows for bigoted, racist, sexist behavior, but it has to stay within the religion. Which, if they are that, my God, what kind of a religion are they? But nonetheless, the Constitution allows for it. But not to the point of committing crime. And especially not to the committing of crime based on any kind of discriminative anyway. And so the church, when they say that they don't like civil marriages for LGBTQ, and they don't like that people are complaining to want to be Mormon and LGBTQ, which all they need to do is say, we're a religion, our theology is that married couples go to the highest degree of the celestial kingdom. Everybody else has other kingdoms to go to. Kingdoms. All they can do is just emphasize kingdoms. You guys want to be LGBTQ? Great, you don't need us. And that's all they have to say. But no, they have to say, no, we must force your agency, you must obey us, you must follow God, you are wicked, you are evil, committing suicide is acceptable to us because you can't repent. You know, unbelievable how abusive they are. And you may, as I realize I'm wearing pink for you, it's not because I'm gay. I desire women, and I've told you I like redheads, which I've told about how hackers had put a whole file system of gay porn on my computer once, and when I tried to identify what is this file, I had to go through layers upon layers to get to the actual file with the picture files in it, and it was deleting before my eyes, and then found out it was gay porn. And I thought to myself, were they really trying to humiliate me with a public label of somebody who likes gay porn? Which, yeah, abusive people like to do that, to present labels to people. As a child, my peers, would be that abusive in that respect of sexual identity. But, if they, I've seen people where I've been suspect of being accused of having child porn, for example. Regular porn is one thing, but to hack somebody's computer and download child porn and then notify authorities to get them in trouble for that, that's another level. But if I really were gay, I would be grateful for the gay porn. What are you taking it off for, guys? No, this is awesome. But no, I would have preferred redheads. But the thinking that goes through religious-minded people to utterly destroy other people's lives, liberty, property, all so that they can have a dominant religion over others. It's just horrifying. I mean, the church just needed to be nice. That's all they had to do. And people would have come to them. Oh, wow, okay, you say the name Jesus, and you support family living, and you take care of the poor, and if they just stuck to that, people would have kept flocking to the church. But nope, they had to have a past. They had to have a history where Brigham Young decided to be the bad guy. And the church, rather than coming out and saying, you know, Brigham Young was a bad guy, we want nothing to do with him, we are taking the church in a different direction, and even to save it for Mormons by saying we're restoring what Joseph Smith wanted to pursue. They would have lost authority in the eyes of Mormons, but at least, as Mormons would therefore have no authority to go to, they would resort to the church as the only place to go to that they knew of. But it really is disturbing that a couple who want to have a good and happy life, just like anybody else, goes into a bakery and are told, oh, I'm sorry, you're gay, you violate my religious rights, your gay agenda is going to make me gay by selling you a gay wedding cake. I mean, dear God. I mean, I heard the Utah legislature back in the day talking about the gay agenda, the gay this, the gay that, and hearing about the horrors at BYU about how they used to perform the conversion therapy, which is the shock treatment, which I've seen Clockwork Orange. The first girl I dated, Cynthia Pollard, back in high school, when I asked her, what's your favorite movie, she said Clockwork Orange. And so, oh, okay, I've never seen that one. And so I saw it, and then I went, oh, what does she mean by that? And does it relate to me? I mean, the whole concept is just horrifying, and Stanley Kubrick makes a point to notify the audience at the end of the movie, it doesn't work. He was putting on a show. And yet to hear that the church was doing it, and then to find out later that that's why my parents were thinking I was gay, not just because my uncle came out as gay during that time period, abandoning his Barbie doll wife and his 3 Barbie doll daughters, but to accuse me of something that I was not, but I couldn't let them know that I liked women because of the abuse towards that. I couldn't let my parents know that I desired women because they disapproved. You know, anything I got involved in was disapproved of. And so it was a no-win situation for me. You know, if I don't show that I like women, then they think I'm gay. If I show that I like women, they don't like it, and they condemn me and ban me and report me to the bishop or whatever. It's just, It's a horrible life to live, to be constantly attacked for just being human. And I've seen Mormons attack people for just being black. I've talked about Stan Lowry and the horror as I begged and pleaded to save his life, and they just wouldn't listen. It was an accident. It wasn't his fault. He didn't do anything, and they didn't care. And I've seen sexual assaults as a little kindergartner. And the boys just laughing as she was crying and screaming. How can people be so mean? What the hell is wrong with them? What the hell is wrong with Mormons? As I hear Mormons talk about going down to the southern border to protect America from people who want a freedom, who want the American life. Mormons who I'm hearing in the news are raping thousands of girls. You know, bishops, primary presidents, or not presidents, teachers, primary teachers, other Mormons, scout leaders, raping kids. What happened? What's going on? This is not the church I was raised to believe I was in. Why are Mormons so set on forcing and controlling and taking away the life, liberty, and property of others? It does not make any sense to me, because our theology is that that's Lucifer's plan of happiness. It's not our Mormon doctrine of Heavenly Father's plan of happiness. Why? And so now, with Ruth Bader Ginsburg gone, as it seems like Chris is doing a whole show on her, why? Because we know exactly Trump's going to put in a hardcore Republican who will overturn the rights, liberties, and properties of individuals that we have had, at least for some semblance of protections for. You know, women's rights gone, the poor rights gone, colored gone, you know, with DACA, immigration, slavery, and then with women, you know. I caught the church with their law of chastity, changing it to allow for polygamy again. I caught them. You know, somebody else had posted the temple text that Nelson changed it to, but I didn't hear anybody talk about, oh, they're starting polygamy again, because they don't say polygamy in there. It says according to the law of God. Well, what's the law of God for Mormons currently? Section 132. What's Section 132 about? Polygamy. And so it's very disturbing to hear the church outright deceive and lie to Mormons. That they don't like people protesting them. They don't like it when the Protect LDS children rose up against them after they even excommunicated the former bishop. He's the one in charge of that whole movement, got it going. I couldn't get him to go after the other issue, but he only wanted to stop him for bishops' interviews. But the church did attempt to try to get a legislation passed to ban people from recording people on cell phones. That's how it got leaked, is that a father went in with a recording device and recorded, I think it was stake president, but others have recorded bishops, about, hey, what's going on? No, it was the woman that was talking to the stake president in that recording. The father did talk to the bishop. But the church is just getting bombarded with new technologies and are trying to censor and silence and take away rights just so that they can continue to commit crimes. And it's horrifying to be in a church that wants to do that. I mean, dear God. They fire the ordained women leader. Or not fire, they excommunicate her. And then after they excommunicate her, then they start loosening up on women's rights in the church. But they won't bring her back. She was right. The church softened, but only after she was excommunicated. That's how they work and operate. They use excommunication as extortion threats. And that's bullying. And that's supposed to be God's true church? Seriously? So, I'm just... Yeah, this is a serious issue, guys. How can you guys continue to stay in a church like this? I left. When I found out, well, my bishop extorted me. I just published a new book and did a YouTube video about the book. And my bishop said, take it down. And I said, no. It was about saying that the Book of Mormon is the official doctrine of the church regarding the fall of Adam. That was the lesson, the Old Testament was the lesson manual for Sunday school that year. And I was doing a series of lessons based upon, to correct the church's lesson manuals, because they're wrong. They're incomplete, they're inaccurate. The church refuses to retranslate the Bible correctly. An article of faith says that we don't believe in the Bible if it's not going to be translated correctly. The church isn't translating it correctly. And I'm a translator. I know how to translate the Bible correctly. And the church doesn't like that. But, when I found out, when I was doing church history research, when I found out Brigham Young was a murderer, a habitual murderer, bloodthirsty murderer, not just of Joseph Smith, not just of neighbors causing the Mormon War in Illinois, and not just leaving the poor saints to die in the winter as they tried to come to Utah or the Salt Lake Valley, but the Native Indians, the Mountain Meadows Massacre, I mean, just a whole ton of murders that follow Brigham Young. And that's just inexcusable. You are not a man of God, let alone God's true prophet and successor of Joseph Smith as a bloodthirsty murderer. You don't get that title. You don't get that recognition. You don't get that mantle. And then, of course, there's the sexist, sex prostitution, racketing, sex trafficking with polygamy. And there's a lot of other stuff, too. So, yeah, it's horrifying that a religion wants to be a part of a religious freedom movement only for the purpose to take away rights of others and to set in motion for their polygamy in the future. When hearing about the uteruses being taken out of girls in ICE detention, Yeah, I now know what Nelson's up to, and it's horrifying. That if you're not worthy, that if you're not loyal as a woman, if you're not the right color, you're just going to have your uterus taken out. And what will you be good for? A brothel. And then the men will have testicles cut off as eunuchs. And so only the worthy priesthood holders will be able to bear children. And then what will they do? Oh, well, gee, not enough men with testicles. So I guess I'm going to have extra wives. Oh, gee, we don't have enough and now we've got 14-year-old girls. I guess she's got to be my wife. It's just sickening. But that's what they're heading to.